All in, yo. It's your boy Painkiller, and I'm back for the first time. We're gonna play some more Forza Horizon 4. Hey, I've been out for a minute. Got some good training in. Our drill is not over with yet. But we back now for a little bit. Trying to run a couple of rounds. Hoping I don't get a sound loop on that. But either way, let's run some Forza.
Welcome back, Will.
Oh yeah, in the springtime, full spring, what's happening? Got something a little faster now. You take it to the auto show. Still don't have any good Toyotas in here, right? Check. They're hoping in the season change, they might change the cars they had. Because Toyota might not have made the cut too tough. And alright, so they make the cut too tough. Sure. Truck. Right. Big. Some of these companies never heard of before. WRX. Shelby. Lean. Wrong car. Braking on is nasty. Radical. RXC turbo. Handling on is ridiculous. The speed is not top notch. Handling, acceleration is not half bad either. Not that expensive. Oh. Might take another look at it. Going up against that 911. See the difference. 911 got it in speed. I don't have it in handling. Got it in acceleration. Launch. Having in braking though. Okay. I brought that Trans Am, baby. Damn. Oh. Companies I don't know who they are. No. Launch is high, the braking's high, top speed ain't that bad, and the handling's high. Ooh, And of course, it's made by McLaren. Wow, that's just beautiful. How much is that? Might have to get this. Might just have to get this. McLaren, so. Oh. Actually, that's better. That costs like 5 times more. Goes from the popularity, 1997. I had to get that. We'll come back, McLaren. Good old Maserati. Lotus. Lotus is a pretty good car company too. And Rover. Delta. Lamborghini. Jesus. That Lambo. Come on now. Look at the stats. Acceleration 10, launch is 10, braking is 2 steps away from a 10, handling is at a 9, and the speed is at 8.6. That's ridiculous. Kanzik, this is what I usually drive back in the day when I first started playing Horizon. I think it was this one was my main thing. And this and that McLaren for this number. Change on them, huh? In the color. Here. Goodness. Alright. Things behind edition. Yeah. Tag. Hooligan Styles, Hondas, Hennessy. Hennessy always was a decent speed. Mustang, American cars. A little bit. That's just it. Looking at this Bugatti before too. I know what these things get up. At this Bugatti last time. All right. All right. So I was saying between the Corvette, the Lamborghini, and the McLaren. I mean, this Lambo was just ridiculous. Price tags real quick. Everything's on the 10 except for the top speed. And wow. Better. Look at the price tag though. Can't afford them. But I can afford that. I think I'm gonna go with the McLaren. The overall lines on it just looks so much smoother. Races not up there though. Acceleration not up there. So, with Lambo. Throw it on that one. Throw it on that one. Definitely get that all-wheel drive. I'm not sure on that one too. Damn it! Like I'm about to buy this. Starting the damn game. Not sure on that though. Why is this so cheap? Actually, good stats. With the McLaren, let's get on the road. Question is what McLaren I'm gonna get. Rear-wheel drive too. Good boy. A lot of spending on my behalf. Let's get you. Let's get you. It's a McLaren. Oh. Need one with an anime girl in it. Iron Man one? Oh, that's dope. And Goku joint. Oh, on it though. Like the monster thing. On Iron Man, baby. Looking too high. Thought it would look better. Bit better than the other one. Big ass lightning bolt on the side of it. Not digging that. Hooligan setup though. With a better rendering on it. I'll take it. That bad boy. Sexy. Yeah, hey. Let's get driving. Good boy. Around the road. Let's see what we got.
So there's a TV company filming a documentary called British Racing Green, all about car culture in the UK. Bex is gonna be in it, but they want a second driver as well. Considering how much of a name you are around here, I figured you'd make the perfect co-star. What do you think?
All right, run it. Guess it'll be the next 5 or 10 races it got. If I can select it, that'd be nice. Guess they're not gonna let me select it, so I'm gonna hit that.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Sound mean already.
Peep the technique.
Scratch the thing.
In 400 yards, turn right.
approval, never irrelevant, mathematical. Here's some souvenirs for all the years of failure, so I thought for ideas. It's cool when you freak to the beat, but just sweat the technique. Don't sweat the technique. Don't sweat the technique.
I'm sorry, a little bit. Oh no. Oh, we gotta go back to the
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Bringing you back to the block party, my name is Mr. Jam. Now, Horizon, this is cool. They're about to start filming a documentary around the festival. British Racing Green, an automotive history of the UK. Sounds like essential viewing if you ask me. Followed immediately by Brit Hop Garage Grime, a rap history of the UK, which is a film I've just now decided to make. Stay tuned for updates.
personal best, no joke. I'm driving this. That type of control doesn't do this.
Recalculating route.
There's another abandoned car rumour, but I'm up to my neck putting together the spring seasonals. You couldn't go have a wee look for me, could you?
You have arrived at your destination.
All right, let's go. Do it.
Great to see you. We're shooting a documentary about car culture in the UK, and I need a second driver. You've made a name for yourself, and it would be great to have you aboard. It's simple. You drive, I tell the story. Let's do it.
Stay above 70, get to the destination. Crap, the timer started. Crap, where you cut, bring a beer. 70.
From Aston Martin to McLaren and Bentley, Great Britain is home to over a century of automotive excellence. I'm Rebecca Dawson. Welcome to British Racing Green, a documentary celebrating that history. The Aston Martin DB5 Vantage was the quintessential Grand Tourer of the 1960s, combining British engineering and Italian design.
Definitely about there's no cheese there. This is a classic car, but and that. It's a video game. Woo. Nice. Not so clean. I got steering class. This is keep it up to 70.
The Vantage featured side draft carburetors and a refined camshaft profile, capable of a blistering top speed of 162 miles an hour in 1964.
Not good.
You're right, not to worry, reset and let's try another take.
Yeah. Let's try another take. Bad boy's heavy. And I see braking was damn near non-existent. Alright, let's see if we get this time.
From Aston Martin to McLaren and Bentley, Great Britain is home to over a century of automotive excellence. I'm Rebecca Dawson. Welcome to British Racing Green, a documentary celebrating that history.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
They took a classic car like this off road.
Recalculating route. In 100 yards, turn right. Turn around when it is safe to do so. In 100 yards, turn sharp right.
Jesus, that was all brake. Oh, boy.
We'll reset and take that
That
section
was
again.
all brake. Wow, that was crazy. I'm like, brake. That thing just slid into the next bad decision. Wow, that was horrible. But we know she don't stop at all.
From Aston Martin to McLaren and Bentley, Great Britain is home to over a century of automotive excellence. I'm Rebecca Dawson. Welcome to British Racing Green, a documentary celebrating that history.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
I think I get this guy to do this. Stop talking. I would freak out too. Yeah, nice documentary.
Recalculating route.
Some of these people talk to on documentaries.
In 400 yards, turn left. In 100 yards, turn left. Turn around when it is safe to do so. In 100 yards, turn right. In 200 yards, you will arrive at your destination.
The silver DB5 would be immortalised in half a century of cinema. The classic Aston Martin.
But you didn't say anything to the rest of the run.
But in 2016, a new DB was unveiled, heralding the dawn of Aston Martin's second century. The DB11 is the first production turbocharged Aston Martin. But is it a worthy successor to that legacy?
We both know it is.
The short answer is yes. It's bold, responsive, and agile. It's perhaps the best GT chassis in the world. And listen to it.
Holy crap, explosive, huh?
Able to hit 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds, the DB11's 5.2-litre twin-turbo V12 boasts a top speed of over 200 miles an hour.
Going straight up, believe it.
The DB11 is not the fastest car in the world, but then it's not trying to be. It's sophisticated, effortless luxury. It's an Aston Martin. The DB11's front strakes channel air to create a virtual spoiler, providing downforce without compromising the car's clean lines. Brilliant. Most importantly, I think, the DB11 proves that Aston Martin is ready for another century of beautiful cars. And I can't wait. Beautiful as they are, Aston Martins are only one of many cars made in the United Kingdom. Let's see what else is out there.
So they made me double up on the races. All right. Money? Oh, give me a bonus. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Don't get caught up guard. They may pull your card while you was counting them sheets. I was here right these.
What's next up?
This is shaping up nicely. Time for a change of pace, though. At least at first. The next segment is about Land Rover, and we'll be starting out with the Type 3.
I mean, these things were like it was a big deal back in the day. A lot of people loved the Land Rover.
Land Rover, the British sports utility vehicle. But before that, they were actual utility vehicles. Solid, tough trucks, unstoppable over almost any terrain.
In 400 yards, turn left.
The Land Rover Type 3 marks the point where that shift begins. And we'll be looking at what that meant.
Recalculating route.
Land Rovers have taken on almost every task imaginable. They've been generators, tractors and ambulances. They've brought peace and carried medicines to disaster zones. They've even been buses. Over 500,000 Series 3s were built, and over 70% of those are still on the road today. They were extensively exported and built under license abroad. Belgium, South Africa, even Australia and New Zealand. With a robust chassis and signature Land Rover engineering, the Type 3 also marked the first time that buyers could choose interior options, like seat box protectors and cubby boxes. That trend continued, and by 1982, Land Rover were offering the county spec Type 3. Leisure drivers could choose from such luxuries as all-cloth seats, soundproofing and tinted glass. The trend was increasingly clear, and the future of the Land Rover was starting to take shape. If you squinted, you could already see the shape of the first sports utility vehicle, the Range Rover. While the stock Type 3 would never be particularly fast uphill, there is almost no hill that it couldn't climb, or dam for that matter, if you put a proper winch on it. In 1978, a Series 3 was custom built for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It only had 1,892 miles on the clock when it was auctioned into private hands. And it was in perfect condition. It would be. After all, she trained as a mechanic in the 1940s and will likely remain the only royal able to strip and rebuild an engine. Along with the Range Rover, others would follow. Discovery, Defender, and the Freelander. Each a more sophisticated and enjoyable utility vehicle. But none of them were a replacement for the Type 3. They were a different kind of car. The Type 3 was arguably the first sports utility vehicle, an evolution of the design that would lead ultimately to this. The Bowler Nemesis. An off-road racing vehicle that turned into a production SUV, the Nemesis EXR. It sports a turbocharged 5-litre Land Rover Jaguar engine, crammed into a carbon fibre chassis with integral roll cage. It even has the grille, headlights and rear lights from a Range Rover. There are no compromises either. With a 0 to 60 time of an unreal 4.2 seconds, all-wheel drive, and the ability to corner near instantly, the Nemesis provides adrenaline and sheer terror in equal measure. This is an all-terrain supercar. That's the only fair description for this. But that's what you get when you build an SUV with Land Rover DNA.
feels like she's overbuilt. Like, that's me something that's never gonna break down. I mean, no maintenance. Not gonna ever be the fastest. You probably won't break too much on the speed records, but once you buy one, you won't need to buy another one. Damn near ever. Next chapter.
Hope you're enjoying yourself. I know I am. It's great to be able to just focus on telling the story while someone else handles the driving for once. Let's get to the next one. This time, it's Lotus.
The lovely Lotus.
Lotus Engineering Limited began as many stories in British engineering do, in an old barn. The first Lotus cars were offered as kits. You built them yourself. From 1962, they began to actually build the cars themselves. The Elan Sprint showed exactly what they intended to do. Built around a steel backbone with a fiberglass chassis, the Sprint weighed in at a meager 687 kilos parked on the curb.
Nice.
On the road, this translated into brilliant agility and fantastic performance.
Got it back there.
Designer Colin Chapman famously said, "Adding power makes you faster on the straights. Subtracting weight makes you faster everywhere." He knew what he was talking about.
Turn right. In 100 yards, turn left.
Widely hailed as one of the greatest sports cars of the 1960s, the Elan would be closely studied and emulated, inspiring such masterpieces as the Mazda MX-5. The Elan has all the energy, style, and enthusiasm you would expect. Bold, quick, and fun. So much so that they put it in the name.
Let's see her on the ground.
The Elan Sprint was a financial as well as an engineering success for Lotus, validating their approach to design and resulting in a whole family of light, agile roadsters. Which brings us to this,
Wish they had the
the
MR2.
Lotus Exige. It's heavier than the Elan, admittedly, but it's faster. Much, much faster. Touch the pedal, the Exige responds with instant, relentless acceleration, as you'd expect. With a 0 to 60 time of 3.8 seconds and a top speed of 170 before upgrades and tuning, the Exige is uncompromising.
Does handle nicely though. Life.
And there's no power steering, so you can really feel the road. A genuinely thrilling drive, and one that isn't afraid to demand you take it seriously.
In 400 yards, turn left. Turn left.
In one word, Lotus is about the experience. Uncompromising, challenging. This is a car that demands you drive it well. And when you do, you'll see what the fuss is all about.
Yeah, I like the feel of it. No power steering, you know. Like not even like drifting.
In 400 yards, you will arrive at your destination.
Doing in the other business.
And with rumoured launches of 2 new cars in 2020, Lotus looks set to push the benchmark of the experienced sports car well into the next century.
What happens when you take no shortcuts? Out on this one. There's some cool stuff, and they'll give me credit. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll buy myself a new car. Just got that McLaren. Get that Lambo.
A brand new rhyme because they say that miracles never cease. I've created. Reporter stopped me for an interview. She said she's heard stories.
Done much rallying? That's a joke. We've all seen what you've been up to. We're doing the next bit on location. You'll see why when you get there.
Oh, that's cars east. She's my beast.
Turn around when it is safe to do so. Yards, you will arrive at your destination.
Park your car in the destination zone. Ah, you suck at my window. Like, man, you're supposed to took over.
Ford, that most American of cars. But the Ford Escort, oh, that's British. And more than that, the Escort would become for many synonymous with Group B. In the 70s, Ford had embraced that destiny so firmly that they'd begun their own championships to find new drivers. Drivers for cars like the RS 1800.
That'll be a nice little thing to throw at somebody.
This was a car designed explicitly for rallying, with a powerful fuel-injected 1790cc Cosworth BDE engine. Homologation rules required that all cars entered into the group be production. So Ford built 200 of them. The RS 1800 brought home 17 World Rally Championship victories for Ford. So, of course, Ford set out to design a better one. The RS 200 Evolution was their answer. A purpose-built rally car designed to do one thing: win Group B. With a 1.8 turbocharged Ford Cosworth BDT engine and all-wheel drive, the RS 200 had perhaps the best suspension platform of any car of its era. The chassis was fiberglass from Reliant, and a massive Ford parts bin was raided to give the car that iconic look. That was not bad, but could we make it a little more majestic? With a 1.8 turbocharged Ford Cosworth BDT engine and all-wheel drive, the RS200 had perhaps the best suspension platform of any car of its era.
Let's just wreck this thing.
That was spectacular. Take a breather and let's try again with less excitement.
Just one more time. Right.
With a 1.8 turbocharged Ford Cosworth BDT engine and all-wheel drive, the RS200 had perhaps the best suspension platform of any car of its era. I know you want more time in that car, but we really do need to get this shot today. With a 1.8 turbocharged Ford Cosworth BDT engine and all-wheel drive, the RS200 had perhaps the best suspension platform of any car of its era. The chassis was fiberglass from Reliant, and a massive Ford parts bin was raided to give the car that iconic look. Fortunately, Ford built over 200 as part of the homologation requirements for Group B, so you can still find them, if you're lucky.
That's the most recent one. It looks dated. That scoop on the hood, that's definitely Rowley. Real Rowley look.
Promises all in your conversation. I hate people that feel entitled. Look at me crazy.
You know, I really like this car. Not that I'd want to drive it for too long. Squeeze yourself in there and let's see just how fast you can make it go. Which won't be too fast. But hey, I could be surprised. The Peel P50 has the dubious honour of being the smallest production car in the world. A one-door microcar coupe, featuring a 42cc air-cooled engine, capable of a heinous 38 miles an hour. And a handle, so you can pick it up and carry it with you when you get to work. And keep in mind that this is the production version. The prototype had the single wheel at the front. Why would you think that was a good idea? In 2010, though, production restarted at Sutton in Ashfield. So, if you'd like to own the modern incarnation of this, I suppose you can.
I don't think anybody would. This is like driving to school. Or driving nowhere. That's just bad. World's fastest lawnmower. Cadillac. I've had that Aston Martin, but hey, Cadillac is Cadillac. Can't knock that.
Ready to handle the mess, hey, cleaning it up like a bus boy. But you can find me in a Benz though. All these rappers trying to flex though. But we
Hey there! How about a car with some actual legroom and some actual speed? This section's about what happened when McLaren decided to make a road car. You're going to enjoy this.
Find out.
The track and the road have very different requirements. For McLaren, that was a challenge they were more than willing to embrace. In 1988, they set out to create the finest sports car the world has ever seen. By 1993, they had achieved their goal, and the honestly fantastic F1 was the result. 106 would be built across all variants, and it remains one of the very best road cars ever made. The F1 has no turbocharger. That would have compromised the driving experience, increased complexity, and resulted in turbo lag. The F1 is a naturally aspirated supercar, one of the fastest in the world, in fact.
Turn right. Recalculating route.
McLaren's racing heritage is so deeply ingrained in this machine that when they took it to Le Mans in 1995 and faced off against purpose-built racing machines, they won.
A little scratch.
So, with something like the F1 to live up to, where do you go next? Well, you throw the book away again and write an even better one. The result is the McLaren P1, a hybrid electric sports car that stands head and shoulders above the F1.
Hybrid electric sports car.
The P1 GTR will hit 60 miles an hour in 2.4 seconds. That's 0.7 seconds faster than the F1. That's an eternity for a supercar. The car's blistering performance is delivered by a twin-turbo V8, supplemented by a McLaren ECU electric motor and instant power assist system. And they do mean instant.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Remember those problems with turbo lag? McLaren solved that with the hybrid drive. While the turbos build pressure, the electric motor drives the wheels. No turbo lag, just torque. And because it's a hybrid, it has an all-electric range. Running on batteries alone, that's 6.2 miles. A bit more if you're going downhill.
In other words, don't drive the car just on batteries alone. Won't even make it work.
I quite like sleeper cars. Did Alex ever tell you the story of what we got up to in Colorado? There was this sleeper car competition, you see. Let's just say no one was ready for the sunbeam. Lotus never quite let go of the upgrade game. So in addition to building their own supercars, they upgraded cars from other marques too. The Lotus Carlton was one such aftermarket upgrade. Lotus took a respectable four-door Vauxhall saloon and turned it into a supercar.
Nice.
From the outside, there are a few signs that this is something special. Wider wheel arches, that sort of thing. But under the bonnet, that's where the magic starts.
Driving it is rough.
Engine capacity was increased to 3.6 litres, and twin Garrett T25 turbochargers were added. The engine block was reinforced, and new crankshafts were forged by Opel and machined in Germany.
This car was
Turn
open.
around when it is safe to do so. In 400 yards, you will arrive at your destination.
Way past the destination.
Only 950 of these custom gems were built, and they've become something of a modern classic. The Lotus Carlton was an example of how to turn a saloon into a supercar. But that's not the only thing Lotus got up to. In 1979, Chrysler approached Lotus to create a strict rally version of their Sunbeam three-door hatchback. Lotus, as you might imagine, rather enjoyed the challenge. They took the rear-wheel drive hatchback and changed everything that matters. They stiffened the suspension, improved the anti-roll bars, and widened the transmission tunnel.
Oh boy.
It almost makes you wonder if Lotus should do more conversion. It's a silly question, actually. Lotus should do more conversions. In fact, I'll call them right now.
Nice.
I speak indiscreet, cause talk's cheap. Then I get deep in the beat, think complete. Full physique, never weak or obsolete. They never grow old techniques, become antiques. Better than something brand new, cause it's original. In a while, style I have much more value. Classical, too intelligent to be radical. Masterful, never irrelevant, mathematical. Here's some soothing souvenirs for all the...
Fresh and back since they started saying Audi. Cuz funks made fat from right beneath my hood. The pooba of the...
All right.
I honestly think these might be some of the most beautiful cars in the world. And the story of how it came about is, well, really British. Get in the car and let's get this segment.
Okay.
Jaguar is a bit of a favourite of mine. The company is almost 100 years old and was originally founded to build sidecars for motorcycles. But this is the car that really set the bar, I think. The 1961 E-Type. When he saw it, Enzo Ferrari called it the most beautiful car in the world. High praise indeed. He wasn't alone in his admiration. Accolades have followed this car ever since. It's been in movies, comics, games, and TV shows.
Enzo says it's the car on the road. Well, this has some clout on that. This literally is Enzo Ferrari. Except for that tree. That tree behind us. Back it up a little.
Turn around when it is safe to do so. In 200 yards, turn sharp left. At the roundabout, take the first exit.
Yeah, I'm just being backwards, please.
About 2,500 were built, and they're a common sight at auto shows, and surprisingly reasonably priced. All in all, an almost perfect Jaguar.
Jag. What you can say?
The E-Type was the successor to the Le Mans winning D-Type, but what would that look like if Jaguar designed it today? In 2013, Jaguar answered that question with the F-Type Project 7, a spiritual successor to the E-Type, and designed from the ground up to be the purest, most enjoyable Jaguar yet.
Jaguar.
The car's heritage is proudly displayed in the gorgeous D-Type curves and the distinctive aero hunch behind the driving position. But like the E-Type, it's not just a pretty face. Powered by a 5-litre V8 supercharged engine, with a fully aluminium body, it's blisteringly fast, with a 0 to 60 speed of 3.8 seconds and a top speed of 186.
Hold on. I wonder where this highway was at. I can see this highway is over here. Okay.
Miles an hour. A car as beautiful as this must surely have been a carefully authored design. Actually, it started as a sketch by designer César Pierre, thrown together one Friday in his free time.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Jaguar's design director, Ian Callum, saw the sketch in a thumbnail on César's computer during a meeting and asked him what it was. The rest is history. 250 Project 7s were built, as both a successor to the E-Type and as a celebration of Jaguar's victories at Le Mans. I think I speak for all of us when I say, thank heavens for César's Friday afternoon doodle.
2-star, I'll give it that much. Still lose control for a little bit. I didn't spin the wheel for me.
So run and tell the others, cause we are the brothers. I learned how to build bikes in my workshop class. So give me the sword and let's not make it the last.
Going each and everywhere with the mic in my hand.
We're almost done, but we've saved the good stuff for last. A spot of rallying in the most British car of them all. Get in, strap in, and let's nail this one. There is one car built in Great Britain that is, quite fairly, considered one of the most influential cars of the century. It's a surprisingly spacious little city car with a side-mounted engine. It's an icon of popular culture. It's been built on every continent where there's a car factory.
Oh.
It's the Mini.
Faster than I thought it was.
The Mini Cooper S was built to be a performance machine with deeper engines, twin carburetors and front disc brakes. This scrappy little machine would go on to achieve more than 30 racing victories in the 1960s and 1970s.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Almost made it to
Are
the
you
road.
all right? Take a moment, then let's do that bit again. There is one car built in Great Britain that is, quite fairly, considered one of the most influential cars of the century.
Turn left.
It's a surprisingly spacious little city car with a side-mounted engine. It's an icon of popular culture. It's been built on every continent where there's a car factory. It's the Mini. The Mini Cooper S was built to be a performance machine with deeper engines, twin carburetors and front disc brakes. This scrappy little machine would go on to achieve more than 30 racing victories in the 1960s and 1970s. A Mini Cooper S flying number 37 placed first at the 1964 Monte Carlo Rally. Driven by Paddy Hopkirk and Henry Liddon, this was the last time all British crew would win the event. But not the last time a Mini would. At Monte Carlo in 1966, Minis took the first, second and third positions. They were all disqualified because they had dimming headlamps. Not because they were winning everything in sight. In 1999, the Car of the Century Award was presented to the most influential car of the 20th century. The Mini came second. It was beaten by the Model T Ford. That's fair, I suppose. 5.3 million Minis would be sold, making it the most popular British car.
Give it that much. The Mini Cooper.
And then in 2000, BMW resumed production of the Mini, breathing new life into the iconic mark. If the Mini of the 1960s had its sights set on the roads of Monte Carlo, the X-Rayed Countryman has its eyes on something a little tougher. The deserts and rough terrain of the Dakar, for starters. A wit once said that the only thing Mini in this monster was the pedal. That's rather missing the point, I think. The X-Rayed Countryman is much, much bigger than the Mini Cooper. It has to be. The stage of the Dakar demands literally...
Yeah, we've seen
tons of gear. You could call it a tank. It does rather sound like one.
He's gonna go. On the center road? No. It's hitting to the right. Still on the road.
When Mini's X-Rayed division set out to build this thing, they had one goal in mind: winning the Dakar. And they did, every year, from 2012 to 2015.
In 400 yards, turn right.
Yeah. Feeling I was gonna come. And right back into the century. Back it up twice.
It's designed to be driven for 2 weeks over deserts and badlands, 5 kilometers above sea level. And it still handles like a hot hatch on a...
Handles like something.
Nice bit of dry air spray. Owners come and go. The heritage of a car like the Mini is more than who owns the keys to the shop. I fully expect to see Mini's wings flying for another century.
Often opposition, futuristic, seeing people after prison, not realistic. There's enough pasta, capitalistic, only bring more division for my decision.
This is quite the story. Bentley at Le Mans in the 1930s. Gentlemen racers, heroic driving, and a personal hero of mine. Take good care of the cars, though. Both of them are mine.
Does she have a damage meter? It has a damage meter.
Bentley, a company founded in 1919 in Cricklewood, North
off-road,
London,
then.
and purchased by Rolls-Royce in the 30s. A company synonymous with both racing and luxury. Perhaps the best example I know of those two extremes of British engineering. For almost a century, every Bentley was hand-built to exacting standards. So at the beginning of the 21st century, when Bentley...
Alright, we're just gonna restart this race. I didn't think she was gonna do that.
revealed...
I did not think it was gonna be like that.
their first mass-produced car, there were a great many questions. Bentley, a company founded in 1919 in Cricklewood, North London, and purchased by Rolls-Royce in the 30s. A company synonymous with both racing and luxury. Perhaps the best example I know of those two extremes of British engineering. For almost a century, every Bentley was hand-built to exacting standards. So at the beginning of the 21st century, when Bentley revealed their first mass-produced car, there were a great many questions. The car was the Continental GT, an elegant grand tourer that combined a racetrack pedigree with exquisite style and all the power you could need. The move to mass production has done nothing to blunt the Bentley experience. The 2017 Continental Supersport is responsive, fast, and beautifully designed.
I'm having to back it up. But took off the damage because I hit the brakes pretty hard through the whole thing. Still giving me like a hard slide into it. Alright, I'll run up from here. Some kind of way. Did I take the roundabout? I don't know.
together all-wheel drive, carbon fibre bonnet sides and side skirts to create the most powerful, performance-focused car the company has ever built. But never forget, Bentley's pedigree is racing, and the Bentley Continental embraces that. In 2007, a largely standard Continental Speed GT broke Bugatti's record for the flying kilometre on the frozen Baltic Sea. And then in 2011, they broke their own record. 205 miles an hour, both ways, on ice. Even when building these gorgeous Grand Tourers, Bentley is driven to excellence. Today, Bentley means modern, peerless luxury and elegance. But that's far from the full story.
Oh.
A century ago, Bentley meant something else entirely. It meant Le Mans. In 1930, eccentric race team owner Dorothy Paget financed a rather special Bentley at the Le Mans. It was a 4.5-litre supercharged masterpiece, driven by Sir Henry Bentley Boy Birkin. It posted the fastest time on the day, but it failed to finish. But what a race it was. Sir Henry's courageous driving forced Rudolf Caracciolla's 7-litre Mercedes out of the race at the cost of his own victory. But in doing so, he handed the day to the Bentley Sixes, a gentleman racer indeed. Sir Henry knew he didn't have anything to prove. In 1929, the adventurer Mrs. Mary Victor Bruce had already driven the resolutely modern 4.5-litre Bentley at Montlhéry, setting distance, speed and endurance records. The Bentley's performance so annoyed Ettore Bugatti that he called it the world's fastest lorry. The blower had the last laugh, though. In 2012, it was sold at auction for over £4 million, which is more than enough to buy a Veyron and a racing truck, if you're keeping score.
Fucking Bentley.
Then I explained that I was quoting a
Like I told them, can't make a film about car culture around here without you in it, can they? I'll let you know if they need you back.
Hope you're enjoying yourself. I know I am. It's great to be able to just focus on telling the story while someone else handles the driving for once.
Very good.
Let's get to the next one. This time, it's Lotus.
Very good.
Lotus Engineering Limited began as many stories in British engineering do, in an old barn. The first Lotus cars were offered as kits. You built them yourself. From 1962, they began to actually build the cars themselves. The Elan Sprint showed exactly what they intended to do.
Turn around when it is safe to do so. In 400 yards, turn right. Turn right. Turn around when it is safe to do so. Recalculating route.
You're right, not to worry. Reset and let's try another take.
That's not. Okay, 1 second.
I'm everywhere you wanna be. Everywhere you wanna. Everywhere you wanna. Come take a trip around the world and back with me. Take you where you want it. Take you where you want it. Ain't a fool around here can flip it like the way that I do. I make the rule around here. Don't test me or I leave you cold. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? I'm smooth, I'm bad, I'm the best you ever had. I'm mean and I'm handsome. Say it, daddy, come pay the ransom. Let's go. I got bad love, baby. I love, come get your bad love from me. Baby, I love, come get your bad love from me. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'm notorious. I've been all around the world.
Where am I to go to? Highway. Then take it up to there. Let's take it to here.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Welcome to the party. Coming to you live from the Horizon Festival. It's Horizon Block Party. How you doing, Horizon? This is Mr. Jam, about to head out from our set at tonight's massive Block Party Spring Slam. Hope you're coming down. It's going to be amazing. So as the sun goes down, let me leave you with a track and... Oh, hey, do we have sunset views from the stage tonight? Oh, I mean, take a look at it out there. It's... Yeah, I'm coming.
You have arrived at your destination.
Well, need to get here.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
There's a sign here, kind of. Fast truck.
We can dance. I was holding back tears.
Take the second exit. Turn around when it is safe to do so.
My car. That's how fast it goes. That was good. Still responding.
400 yards. Turn left.
We left early, girl, that day. We went home and left our clothes up in the living space. What you say?
Turn left.
Had the power. Would you run and find another life to imitate? It's important that we make the best of short time. It can never be my one and only anyway. So you can't deny that.
That is ridiculously fast. 200 plus miles.
What's the point?
You have arrived at your destination.
Alright, time to move it. Speed of the vehicle is about to be busted up so fast. For a barn. Question is, can I find the barn? Definitely gonna unlock every perk we can on this car. I get pink abstract flats. Thanks. The free spin. Oh, got a Porsche. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Empty coupe and the Beamer. Pink boots. Galaxy skirt. White joggers. Big bra. Common party leather jacket. It's pink. Crash register. Oh, goodness. Something nice. That's nice. doing? Nice. Okay, we're getting there. More cash. Aviator shades. Already had this. Cash. I bet. Halo theme corn. This is the horn to the warthog, huh? Pink shimmering jacket. Boy. Stick with the gold one. That cool. Land Rover, Mega Series 3. 15 G's. Oh man, sell a car. Another fat stack of cash. 35G. 20 G's. 180 G's. Oh my goodness. A turtleneck. Golden stash. And let the last one ride. Give me a Volkswagen. Appreciate you. Great. That's not bad. It's only 5. That's only 3. Take the 10. So extra life would be the hardest one. Got dark quick. Yeah. But you can't got invest in the car and all.
The Horizon Block Party, taking it all the way to the top. Live and direct with me, Mr. Jam. I'm back and I've got another guest for you, Horizon. Representing Apex Predators, it's Rebecca Dawson.
Thanks, Mr. Jam. It's good to be on the show.
So, Rebecca, what are you up to? A documentary, I hear?
Absolutely. We're in the UK, so we're exploring the great cars made here.
Nice. I love me a Jack. What's your favourite?
It's hard to choose, but if I had to, probably the Bentley Blower. There's quite a story to that one.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you too.
Right, let's get back into the music right here on Block Party.
And it's a protege, eh? Chronics are where you stay, eh?
I just go where the trade wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be cleaning the West Indies. Just right on my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees.
When we see John, we see a way. Mystically straight from me progressy, I say, hey. Everyone to them own a philosophy. I live the proper way and then me read a chapter daily. Monday in a city hungry and no eat. My food they don't have cookie, just a drop off of the street there. She said poverty no real then. Is what the reason revealing.
I better not look before.
Who knows, who knows, who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. Just provide on my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees.
Can't get that with this car. Gotta take a certain car back there.
Like it's a dream if you got gratitude. So God tell the regime they can't stop what you do now. Information you think on your own, or else you're a slave to the things that you know. What do you know if you learn every day? So be careful of things where you say.
I just go where the train wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. God provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees.
We know we soul, but I chat we know we heart. It is of importance for I and I gather. We cannot show now a balance that we had. How do we propose then to carry it abroad? Cannot go to Ethiopia and in a blood. The building of a
Company truck.
everyone a lover, one a man is just a man. It shall be a coronation when we land.
I just go where the train wind blows, sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. God provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Really,
I say we just move. We just move with joy every time.
I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies.
You see that smile on
God
me?
provide all my wants and my needs. Oh, man.
Your home for hip-hop. How are we enjoying the spring festival out there, Horizon? Heat, crowds, mud, music? It's wicked, isn't it? Well, if you feel like a bit of a break and some fresh air, head out and see if you can find this Ford GT racer that everyone's talking about. Apparently, it's an absolute classic. You lot go out and search for that, and I'll search for new block party bangers like this. This is what I live for. Here we go.
Company, what do you want from me in my skies? Everybody lack confident. I'm many times my potential was anonymous. I'm very time the city making me promises, so I promise this. I love myself. I love myself. But I can do what I want when they live on. I love myself. You said I gotta get it right. I love myself. These days of frustration keep on in rotation. I duck these cold faces, post up, fight for faces. Dreams are reality's piece. No steam in the face of the beast. The sky can fall down, the wind can cry now. The strong in me, I still smile. I love myself. The world is a ghetto place. I love myself, but I can do what I want with everyone. I don't mind. I love myself. You said I gotta get it right. I love myself.
a church girl, now you always find yourself out on Sunday. And you on Monday, the same thing you did Tuesday and Wednesday feel the same. Now you feel uncool like that. But it's okay, go pull that up. If you got your then hold that up. You ain't paid for it, you got a big old somebody money. You ain't gotta pay that back. I'm like, each night and it don't get old. Just know everything like this and ain't goes on. Don't believe everything you've been told. Just know that your future ain't sitting in stone. I rolling stone, I rock like granite. Hit the stage, rock the mic like Janet. If I say things, they might just happen. Turn thoughts, I might just plan it up with no ring, just a saddle whip. You used to get your son from baby. I ain't judging beauty pageants, but time ain't never moving backwards. So okay, get this in for me. I'm just still on the rock that you set for me. If God sent me,
It's such a pretty bond, and you must be driving like right past it.
What you left for me, down for me, stand for me, cry for me. Baby, if you put yourself on me, tell me what you playing for. Come on.
Where you at, man?
But if it's never your fault, then it's never your fault. And if you don't got money, you can say that thought. And you ain't learned a thing, now you pay back loan. That diploma that sit on your wall at home. So who you owe, what you own, you say you owe, but I can't tell. I love that shit, you put it on. But you still out here taking them big L's, broken nail, cracked screen, worked at noon, slept till 3. At the club, you risked it up. Cause you stayed there till they turn the lights on. Looking for that love, like, why? Really know I'm just saying, you be looking for the right thing in one place. To make a man catch you with their body language. At this point, get lost in translation like, no, they got it in for me. I can feel all the vibe that you sent for me. It's scientific chemistry. You wifey, we-fi, you connect to me. So let me be the enemy, you be evil. Really, girl, I'm just trying to feel your energy. So will you live for me or die for me or sip for me or play along, baby girl, like a symphony? All right.
What you left for me, die for me, stand for me, cry for me. Baby, if I put yourself on me, tell me what you playing for.
Consistently, and then you fell out the sky with some angel wings. Would you believe it was meant to be?
You can't find this thing.
Supplying you with the best hip-hop.
I just wanna ride my bike. And if you don't like, talk to me, say, I just wanna go school trip. Got really like phones and flicks. I just wanna be this boyfriend, jeans and vans for the kicks. But still got me good, girl. I just want a sports car, man, you won't stick. Anything to that shit. I just wanna blow your mind. And looking for you, because it's right all the time. Talk to me, say,
Driving around for dead. Still haven't found this thing. As usual. Alright. I can't find it.
Like Mike, I just wanna spend my night. Girl, I just wanna be your type, you the mother type. You the one like up like I'm tree since I was like 3 with the palms in the sky and the sun with the breeze. I'm planning to have so much fun with me. When your song home, that me. See them make it bounce like a Chevy with the high roller ride. So I'm running through the clouds in the sky. Every bounce that high, boots and I just fly.
Forzathon Live now.
Searching around here. Let's see.
In 400 yards, turn left. In 100 yards, turn left. In 200 yards, turn left. Turn left. At the roundabout, take the third exit. In 400 yards, turn left. Turn left. Forzathon Live will begin shortly. Good luck. You have arrived at your destination.
Seems angry. Man, 238.
Broadcasting live all across the UK. The Horizon Block Party.
That's the Vulcan.
Forzathon Live, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Round 1 started!
In 200 yards, turn left. Turn left. At the roundabout, take the second exit. In 400 yards, you will arrive at your destination. Turn around when it is safe to do so. Take the second exit.
Round 1 complete! Get to round 2!
Recalculating route. Roundabout, take the second exit. In 100 yards, turn right.
Round 2 complete! Get to round 3!
Turn around when it is safe to do so. Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Let's go, right?
Round 3 complete! Congratulations!
I can hear them speaking, all they talking about is us. Let them do the talking, I don't.
What do you think? Wicked, right? If you like them, I could do more. I'd set them up on every corner in the UK if Kira would let me. These ones will have to do. For now. Blitzed another speed zone. Nice work. Kira says I can hook up the video feeds to the big screen at the festival, so listen for the cheers next time.
At the roundabout, take the first exit.
Forza-thon live! Sorry, Horizon. I was just watching the stream of the final round, and that was possibly one of the craziest things I have ever seen. These drivers are insane, and I love it. If you're listening, if your radios are even working after that, you officially have a fan in Mr. Jam and a standing invite to the block party. Don't be strangers.
There's no hills. These type of breakneck speeds. Makes sense.
You have arrived at your destination.
I hate people that feel entitled. Look at me crazy cause I ain't invite you. Oh, you important, you the moral to the story. You endorsing, I don't even like you. Corrupt a man's heart with a gift. That's how you find out who you dealing with. A small percentage you I'm dealing with.
Okay. We're not gonna restart this one. I am losing a lot of
From
ground.
sun to sun and from day to day, I sit down and write a brand new rhyme.
Every song that I drop, you got the fireman coming. Bringing the heat with the CD when they see me, wanna be me, better be me, better be
Still drifting. I'm still drifting. Still drifting. Still drifting.
I'm sorry, but I had to vent. Too many things to get off on my chest. 2018. I remember when I first laid eyes on you. I ain't know what to say. I ain't know what to do.
I'm gonna keep spinning this car out. Other than it being literally in the rain. Been like too fast to get caught in the car.
Wave your hands back to front. Let this music change your
follow these lines. Try it again. Still ain't catching up to him. Right there, right on me.
The braids and get you free, cause the clips be fat, boss. Them dug the jams and commenced to going off. She sweats the beats and asked me cause she... Me, I got crew, kids, 7 and a crescent. Us cause a buzz when a nickel bets a dope. Him, that's my man with the asteroid belt. They catch a fizz from the Mr. Doodle Big. He rocks a tee from the Brooklyn 9 Pigs. The rebirth is slick like my gangster stroll. The lyrics just like Luke, come in stacks and rolls. You used to find the bug in a box with fade. Now you boogies up your stage, plats twist the braids, and I'm peace like that. 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 I'm peace.
I'm about to swap it up.
I groove like that. I move like that. I jive
get
like
some
that.
hand to hand
I
in.
roll like that.
Yeah, I'm thick like that. I stack like that.
Play some Soul Cow. Play Soul Cow in a while.
Funk like that. I'm fat like that. I'm in like that cause I swing like that. We jazz like that. We freak like that. We swing like that. We out. We out. We out.
These places. Alright, y'all. I'm about to run a little bit of Soul Calibur, see what I can do on that. haven't played that in a while.
Bamborough Castle. I told Kira, if we're going to do Horizon in the UK, we have to make sure it's well defended from the sea.
I've been jumping on a few. Let me change up some things, and I'm gonna run some Soul Calibur. All right. Going to do great things, fella. Peace. Stand by. Fall out.